Hi everybody, my name is Bianca Draghici. I am a concept artist at the Ubisoft studio Massive, that's in Malmö, Sweden. And I'm gonna try to explain a little bit through this workshop about the methods that I use while working on this underwater image. Depending on the style that I want or I need to have for a project, there are different approaches when creating an image. It can be very stylized, painted, watercolor, etching, photorealistic, and so on. For my personal projects, I like to create series of works that have a specific look so I can experiment more on that area. Lately, I've been working on these painting-like images. The look comes mostly from combining digital painting with several Photoshop techniques. The main attitude is to build the volumes while thinking about how light describes them in real life. So I focus more on the big shapes. I'm trying not to get into details. This is an image that looks loose and sketchy. It needs to have some charm, some atmosphere, and some sort of openness. Like I can always get back and work on it, or it's just like the viewer, when he sees it, just gets the imagination working, and just from seeing some loose shapes can start to create like some sort of to add to the image with his own imagination. An illustration comes both from the painting language, the style, and from the idea that emerges the image. So I think about a little story or a situation that can make the person looking at the image to think about it a bit more. Last summer I've dived a couple of times, and the underwater world is just amazing. It's like experience life on an alien planet, breathing through tubes, floating, the diffuse light, the moving sun rays that are projected on the ground, and of course the calm swimming inhabitants. With this idea in mind, I'm thinking about starting a series of works to describe it. And this first image is that I am doing for ImagineFX magazine. I will try to guide you through the process, and I hope you will enjoy it. While sketching, I'm thinking about the basic elements that create a good composition. A center of interest, a unique perspective, characters, pose that has to be interesting, a good anatomy, and lighting. So I'm starting on a gray canvas, and I mark the big volumes in general dark outlines. Then I'm adding the lighter areas with large brush stroke to describe the volume and to set the overall mood. I work with these light and dark areas. I'm adding and I'm undoing stuff until I really get a good sense of volumes and perspective. After several sketches, I decided to go with this one that has a strong light coming from above the sea, somewhere behind the character and a bit on the side, that will project some strong highlights on the face. Also, it will bounce back from the bottom of the sea. Then I will get some nice, interesting reflections on the torso. After I've made several tests, I decided that I want to go with an overall bluish picture. For that I need to adjust the levels a little bit, so I get rid of the very dark areas. Also the highlights, I need to tone them down. So I'm prepared the image for the color balance adjustment. So now when I'm adding cyan and other colors, that will affect even the highlights and the dark areas that I had before. So this will be mostly my main color, and I want to create another one that I will use for the highlights. Thinking about something yellowish, orange, very warm tones. I like to keep it very different at this moment. The difference between these two tones is quite strong, because I'm gonna apply a lot of adjustment layers on top, and those tend to bring everything together in the image. So having these differences, these strong differences, they will be visible until the end. Here are the two layers I've had. I've painted in a mask the highlights, the orange highlights, and now I'm just adding another orange layer on top and set the opacity, so I kind of get everything to match a little bit. Also, usually when I start an image, I want to have like a warm background that I paint on top. The layer that I've added, it's on the saturation mode layer, and now I'm gonna start to select my character from the background, so I can apply a different tone for the background too. So here I have my character detached from the background, and I'm trying to apply some effects on the background. I think if I make it a bit darker, the character will pop up. So I'm adding an adjustment layer levels on top of my image, and I try to paint in the mask a little bit on the lower part. Seems to be pretty slow, so I will better use a gradient. You can create a layer with the whole visible layers merged in one by pressing Ctrl Shift Alt E in the same time. There you go. It's a nice contrast now. I think it would be good to add some cold tones on the water again. So I'm going to color balance, and I can just in the mid-tones take a bit the yellow off. Yeah, it looks pretty nice now. Have some violet in the background. After applying the adjustment layers, I start to paint again. So I'm polishing the volumes. I start to add in more details. Yeah, just redrawing everything again in order to look more connected, all the volumes and the light and so on. Usually I'm using these two brushes. One is quite squarish, has a soft edge and looks like painting with a real brush, and the other one imitates the pencil hatching. During the process, I want to have a good relation between the background and the character while I'm gradually adding more details to each part. It's time to set the first pass on the mood, even from the early beginning. So I'm adding a gradient on the right corner and I'm painting the sun rays on its mask. I keep it subtle at this point, that's why I'm using the mask, so I can come back later and change it. With large brush strokes, I'm focusing on how light affects the volumes, and I'm painting more on the face and on the body. After adding the atmospherics, I start to paint again. I'm adding more details and polishing the face a little bit. Of course, I flip the image a couple of times so I get a better idea of what's happening because I'm trying to put everything together. I'm using some old sketches as references because I had a very nice lighting in those, so I don't want to lose it. After I consider that I'm quite satisfied with the pose of the girl, I'm thinking about adding the dress on top. For me it's important to have a good anatomy at the base, so when I'm adding the clothes on top, they look like they fit a body that is underneath. So yep, just using simple brush strokes, trying to suggest some ornaments and some foldings. I'm gonna do a quick test now. I wanna add some more gut rays, but I want to have more information regarding the color. So I'm using this trick, just merging all layers in one, and I'm gonna brighten up the image a little bit, and then I'm applying a motion blur on top with the direction of the light. I'm gonna use this image on a screen mode usually. It's very good because it adds some color to the effect, and it's a quick trick. Of course I'm gonna add more adjustments on the layer so it fits more with the image, and I'm gonna paint a little bit on the mask so I get the girl back in the focus. So far I have a good image regarding a bit of light, the colors look interesting, but it's still dark. So I am applying a new set of levels and selective color. This way I'm getting more ideas about how to get more advanced with the image. Applying all these adjustments is giving me more ideas about the contrast and the color. Also, they are transforming the image as a whole, so it really helps on getting everything together, because after applying these layers I am painting more on the elements. So maybe I paint a bit on the background and then I paint a little bit on the face, but then when I'm applying this adjustment layer, somehow everything starts to get together because they affect the image in lights and in shadows overall. I want to add more colors and diversity to the hair, the dress and the environment by using photo references. So I bring in some photos and I'm passing these layers through different modes. Also I'm adjusting their colors and contrast until they match the painting. I keep this to a minimum because I don't want to lose the painted look. It is more like a base, like an inspiration to paint on top. Now I have the basic idea and I can continue with polishing the girl, but I think it would be more interesting to create some sort of story around her. Because it's a personal project and I like to try out things, it looks like it will be more fun to add this fish companion. I've made in a quick sketch, also I've changed a little bit the girl's pose to fit the new fish. I want her to look like she's guiding by this fish into the dips. I want to keep it quite dark because I still want to have the girl in focus. Um, so here you can see how I'm adding a very quick photo on top to get the base for the color, and then I'm starting painting on top of that, adding adjustments and so on, and just trying to bring the new element as the same level of details as the girl. I want to add some small fishes around the girl that are just swimming around her. And I'm thinking about using this photo that I have, because I'm imagining some small fishes that are quite transparent and the light goes through them. So I'm taking this photo using it like a base. It has this nice lighting, and also it, those dandelion bulbs have quite the appropriate size that I want my fishes to have. So I'm gonna quick paint on top some loose shapes for the fishes, and I'm gonna try to use the photo that I have to add some nice effects to the big volumes. I'm adding a motion blur to the photo, and then with the selection on the shapes, I'm copying only the part that I need for the fishes. Then I go with this image through several layer modes until I find something that it feels suitable for what I'm imagining these little fishes to be. I want them to be pretty loose, so once that I'm settled with a layer mode, just to give a little bit of base as color, so I can then start painting on top. Mainly I'm focusing on how the light affects these volumes, and probably they are transparent in the middle, and then the light surrounds the volume, so it's more visible on the edges. After a while, it's good to have an overall look. add the whole image and try to connect again all the elements that I've added so far. So I'm adding new layers with image adjustments on top, trying to bring everything together. Also during this adjustments, I'm kind of testing and looking for how the final image would look like, color wise and contrast wise. After this I'm painting again on all the elements, trying to bring everything together and to a similar level of detail. At this stage, I think it would be great to have some differences in the materials and in the textures. So I'm starting to add a few details to the main characters. I think some nice decoration will make the fish look more fantasy. Pretty much, I'm following the same steps. I'm sketching a little and then I'm trying to suggest there might be shiny little elements by adding spots of shadow and light. After a fresh new look and by flipping the image horizontally, it seems like there are some odd looking elements. So I needed to adjust the girl's arm to make the elbow look like it's going more in perspective. The hair also look like it's a bit too much on the right side, so I've arranged it in a way that will emphasize the girl's face. Now I'm focusing on the fish fin because it looks a bit too dark. So I'm just copy pasting and duplicating the piece of the fin that looks alright. Trying to make everything, as I say, a bit more transparent and adding the levels on top, simulating a light that goes through it. In order to make this image to stand out, to have a personal touch, to be a bit different from other images, I need to exaggerate at least one element. So I'm drawing with courage on top of those decorations to make them big and complicated. I don't want to spend a lot of time on these decorations, so mainly I'm painting one module that I'm copy pasting on top of the sketch, adjusting it here and there. Before adding the final adjustments on the image, I need to block in and to correct all the elements. It looks like I still have some troubles with the girl's arm, so I'm cutting it out from the whole image and I'm emphasizing the perspective so the pose will look more natural. I'm working more on polishing the back fins and I'm adding some subtle ones on the side. After all the tests that I did while building up the image, I decided to go with the bright background for the final version. This way the girl will pop up more. Again, I am adding a group of image adjustment layers. Also, I'm thinking about trying out a pass that simulates chromatic aberration. To get that, I duplicate the image and I shift the channels 1 pixel left and right. I'm adding this on top of my previous picture and I mask the area where I don't want to have it, mostly on the girl's face. So I'm pretty happy with the result and I hope you all have enjoyed this too.